Hello, I'm Helen Colebrook from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest YouTube video. I thought I'd like to do something a little bit different and hopefully fun here on YouTube. Had an idea for a little project I want to work on, and I thought it'd be really great if we could work on it together. So I'm going to be creating something that I'm going to call a mini journal of joy. And it's definitely going to be too long for one video, so I'm going to film this as a series and release a new video hopefully every week so that you can just build up those pages in your journal alongside me. I'm going to be using certain supplies throughout each of these videos, but I'll try and talk you through some alternatives as well. So if you don't have the same thing as me, please do still join in. I think it's going to be lots of fun. I'm not sure how many parts it's going to be yet. Possibly 5 or 6-ish, I'm not quite sure. I'm just going to start creating pages and seeing how I get on, and then we're going to be binding them together into hopefully a really beautiful mini journal just full of joy. Well, I do hope you'll join me on this series, and if you're on social media on Instagram and you decide to create anything, please do tag me in as Journal with Purpose. I'd absolutely love to see how you get on with it. I really hope you enjoy this. Okay, so for my little journal of joy, I'm going to create my pages using some old book pages. And if you don't have any, plain printer paper would be absolutely fine, anything you like. I thought these would be a nice size when folded in half, so I'm just going to be using single sheets. I thought that kind of size would make a really fun little non-intimidating journal to work in. And my aim is to fill this journal with lots of papers full of some of my favourite colours on the backgrounds. So it's already going to start to feel joyful. And in this video, we're going to be making some of the pages, and I'm going to be using my jelly plate today. I don't have a particularly large one, but it's going to be fine. And I'll be using my brayer, which I apologise in advance, it's quite squeaky. And I'll be using quite a few different colours of acrylic paint. I'm using the Amsterdam Standard Series paints, and I'm also going to be using some stencils and probably some stamping as well. If you don't have a jelly plate and brayer, you could use some acrylic paint with a makeup sponge or brush. So really the aim is just to get lots of beautiful colours on these pages so that we're not faced with any blank paper when we come to journal in it. So I'm not going to be doing anything too technical, but I had been asked actually about jelly plate printing, so I thought this would be a good chance to show a bit more of it. And in the other videos, we'll be adding more pages, but using different products and different techniques. So I'm going to start off really simply. I've got Persian rose and sky blue light here. I'm just going to dab some paint on the jelly plate. And you don't tend to need too much paint on these. So I'm just using some of my favourite colours. I want to use my journal for recording all things which bring joy into my life, so I thought a really good starting point would be to use colours that already make me happy. So I'm going to use my brayer to spread the paint around. So apologies for the squeaking. And I just keep lifting my brayer up and moving it in different directions until I've got a good coating all over that plate. Okay, I'm happy with that. And I am going to simply press my paper down onto here and then use my fingers to press the paper onto that jelly plate. I bought this jelly plate a couple of years ago. I wasn't quite sure what the fuss was all about, but I absolutely love them. And I'm going to peel that off. I've already got the start of some lovely colours on there. I'm going to put that to one side for now. I might add another colour onto there later. And I'm going to do another print from this same paint and see how much we can pick up. So you still get a lovely print the second time round, you just get slightly more muted colours. And we're going to be coming back to add some other details on these a little later on once they've dried. And I've also got lots of paint left on my brayer at the moment. So I'm going to simply use that straight onto the paper. And again, you get beautiful colours, just a slightly different effect. Okay, now I've got 3 in that colour. I'm not going to worry about cleaning this in between. If I pick up some different colours along the way, that's absolutely fine with me. So I've got a turquoise green and a cobalt blue here, but because they're quite dark colours, I'm going to mix in a little bit of white as well. So I'm going to do the same thing again for now. But I'm also then going to use some of this to add some stenciling to those other papers that we've just created. And you can use any colours you like for this. Just try and find some of your favourites. So again, I'm just going to spread this around on the jelly plate. And for now, I'm going to do exactly the same again. I'm going to get 2 prints from the jelly plate and then use my brayer, but then I'm going to add those colours back on again. I just absolutely love how these come out. Just think they're so beautiful. And these pages are from an old gardening book that I found in a charity shop. I had somebody else say to me that they struggled to find any books in charity shops. In the UK, things like car boot sales are a really good place to find them, but also quite a lot of people sell them on Etsy as well. Okay, so we've got another beautiful print there. And again, I'm going to clean off my brayer on here. So now I'm going to add a bit of those same colours in again and do some stenciling. So just little dabs of paint is fine, and it goes a long way. And finish off with a little bit of that white. Okay, and this time I'm going to place a stencil on top, and this is the Leafy Trails stencil from my product range. Any stencils is fine for this. I would go for one with quite big open spaces on it though, rather than sort of the tighter detailed stencils. So I'm going to get one of those papers that I created just a moment ago. It dries really quickly because it's quite thin layers of paint, which I love. So I'm going to turn this over, and you could just press it down, but I'm actually going to brayer it to try and make sure that I get as much contact as I can, and I'll have the added bonus of getting some paint on the back of this page as well. And you actually pick up some of the patterns and marks from that stencil underneath on this side too, which is fun. Okay, so I'm going to peel that off, and you see you've got that beautiful layering of those paints coming through on that stencil, which I just love. So now I'm going to take this stencil off. And I'm going to come back and still use the paint that's on here and press this time on top of this page. And depending on the temperature of where you are might affect how quickly the paint on your jelly plate dries. I try and do mine fairly quickly. Okay, so again we've picked up that lovely stencil mark and added that to the paint that was already on the other side. I always try and pick up as much paint as I can that's on that jelly plate. So I'm going to go back again. And just keep pressing until you've got nearly all of that paint off the jelly plate. I think you just get such interesting and often unpredictable results with jelly plate printing. I just love it. From the minute I got one, I was pretty obsessed with it. Okay, I'm now going to move on to another two colours and get some more pages done. I don't know how many of these will make it into the final journal because we'll be doing quite a few different videos and techniques, but just such fun to have a pile of them that we can choose from at the end, and then the rest will be great for using in different kind of collage projects or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to start off again with just getting some simple background prints. So if you don't have a brayer and you've just got a paintbrush and some makeup sponges, you could certainly do it that way. I might do some others with acrylic paint later on. I haven't quite decided yet. Okay, so again, that beautiful background. I'll go back for a second print. Oh, I just love them. And then I'm going to add the same colours again and do a bit of stenciling. I could do this sort of thing for hours and often do, particularly if I'm just wanting to create some pages for doing collages and things. Just really quick and easy and not long at all. You can create so many lovely background papers that are just perfect for using in so many projects. Just realised I've still got some paint on my brayer, so I'm going to quickly clean that off first. And then spread this around. I'm going to do some stenciling again at this time. And I'm going to use another one of the stencils from my product range. Again, I'm going to place that flat on there. I think that will look nice on this one. And again, just use the brayer to make sure we're picking up marks through that stencil. Just loving it. Okay, so I'm going to remove that stencil and try and get some more onto this page as well. I just think these are going to look so wonderful when they're folded over as little journal pages, and we can start adding some fun details onto those pages. Okay, to finish off, I've got a few little ones that are left as kind of 3/4 filled sheets at the moment. So I'm going to go back to my original 2 colours. Again, I'm not going to worry about cleaning it. It will be really interesting if it picks up a few of those different paints. For cleaning the jelly plate at the end, I just usually run it under a warm tap, add a little bit of soap if I need to, but actually if there's just a little bit of paint on there, I don't tend to worry too much about it. And the same with my brayer, I don't think I ever actually clean this off. I just let the paint kind of dry on there. I just try and get as much off when I'm using it. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of stenciling again. I'm not sure even where this stencil came from. I think it's quite old now. I'm just going to pop that down on there. I think add some of that to this page. Again, we're going to get some paint on the back. For any of these that have got blank backs, they'll be perfect. I'll use those in the next video. I'll just turn them over once they're dry and we can start working on the backs of them. Oh, I really like how that's looking. And then add some more to this one. Just showing up so well. And I've got a few bits of paint, and I've got another page here that doesn't have much on. I don't think I'll be able to entirely cover that, but again, that's fine. We can always add to it when we're using some of the other techniques later on. Brilliant, and as you can see, that jelly plate is almost clean without me needing to do anything to it at all. And then to finish these off, I've just got one other little thing that I want to do. I'm going to look for any of the perhaps slightly plainer pages or plainer sections. Got so many pieces already in just such a short space of time. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some stamps here. Again, this is the beautiful bouquet from my product range. And I'm going to stamp them with 2 different colours of Distress Oxide. I'm going to use Shaded Lilac and Broken China. And I'm doing them straight onto the plastic backing that they come on. So I'm not worried about having this perfect. So I'm going to create a kind of watercolour effect with them. So I'm going to spritz these with a little bit of water. And they won't show up perfectly at all, but what we should get is some interesting marks that we can add to our pages. I'm sorry if you keep hearing gurgling, that's actually my stomach rumbling at the moment. It's getting close to lunchtime, I must be hungry today. So I'm just going to press those down on there. And as you see, we've just got some really beautiful kind of soft watercolour floral markings on there. I'm going to keep going down here, see how many prints I can get from it. Yeah, again, it's picked up some lovely little markings on there. And then for this final page, I think I'll use just the Broken China this time. Again, going to give it a little spritz of water. And this time, press it onto this sheet here. One of the things I love about making journals like this is that they've already got so many bright and beautiful colours in it. It takes all of that kind of pressure off with the decorating. We can just add photos to them, create writing spots, add little tags, pockets, anything we like. But hopefully it's already going to be full of just so much joy with all of these gorgeous colours and papers that we've created. Well, the next step is going to be to leave these to dry, and then in the next video, so hopefully next week, we'll be working on the back of any of these that are still plain and just adding some different techniques to these. Well, I really hope you've enjoyed this. I do hope you'll join in. I think it's just going to be a nice, fun and quick project that we can all work on together. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. Well, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you're doing really well. I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.